All right, there's absolute chaos going down at Indian Wells. We're here to break it down. We've got two Dutchmen causing most of it. Talon Griekspoor takes out Alexander Zverev, the number one seed, and Botic van de Zandschulp takes out Novak Djokovic as a lucky loser in Djokovic's first round, handing him his third consecutive loss in 2025 here. So we're going to break this all down match by match, all the other losers today and yesterday as well, the big names that have dropped. We're going to break it down. This is the slice presented by Betway. Let's get into it. Okay, there's so much to get into. Usually wouldn't have a preview done this early. We're not even really done the second round, but there's enough big names that have fallen that I thought we should check in here and just see what the heck is going on. Does that sound fair? If you're new here, thanks for being here. If you're back here and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That helps out the show and it helps you become a better tennis fan. So we appreciate that. And it also maybe help your favorite player not lose, which a lot of favorite players have lost in the first 2 days here in Indian Wells. So yeah, we're going to break it down. Talking about breaking it down, I am giving picks and tips on the Betway feed. So if you want to go to their app, it's a great way. I put clips just on there, giving my thoughts on the odds that are getting put out. It's pretty fun, and there's some crazy odds going down. Looking forward here at Indian Wells. So shout out to Betway for sponsoring the slice. All right, Botic van de Zandschulp, lucky loser in Indian Wells. People are talking about it. You watch the match. Djokovic loses in 3, lays an egg in the first set, comes back in the second set. You're thinking, oh, is he just stumbling and going to get it back here? But then again, he kind of just goes away. His level drops a lot in the third set as Botic stays steady and gets the win. And now, if you've been watching tennis, Botic's had 3 big upsets. He beat Alcaraz at the U.S. Open last year. He beat Nadal, I believe, in Davis Cup. So he's beaten now Djokovic, Nadal, and Alcaraz in the last 12 months. Other than that, he's pretty much lost consistently. I read somewhere that hasn't made a quarterfinal in like 50 ATP tournaments or something like that. But he's beaten these big guys. So he can just play. He can go to a high level of defense and make great players hurt themselves and hate themselves and lose matches. And that's what he did here. Love the response for him. He wins the match. Djokovic is clearly out of it. Clearly was not playing well. No celebration from Botic. Just head down, walks to the net. Shows the respect to the great one. And yeah, tough outing for Djokovic. Here's a quote that he gave after the match. He said, quote, "I regret the level of tennis considering how I practice these days. To be honest, the difference between the center court and the other courts is immense. Ball is bouncing on the center courts higher than some of the highest clay courts." So that's interesting. That was from Jose Margado posted that. If the quote's wrong, you can blame him. But that is interesting because we talked about in the preview to the tournament, the court surface changing and the court surface provider changing. And we thought it'd be faster, lower bouncing, but it seems like it's not really much faster on the center court, and the bounce is still super high. At the end of the match was when I tuned in. You could see Botic on his backhand having to like hit way above his hand from way behind his head from way behind the baseline, showing just how much of the spin bites into that gritty court, which is typical, which is classic for the last few years in New Wells. But yeah, we thought it would be different this year. But Djokovic is kind of pointing out that the practice courts and the side courts are much different than the center court. So that's interesting. But what do you make of this if you're a Djokovic fan? I don't know. I've heard people say it's probably just a lack of motivation. Like, what is he playing for anymore? He's completed tennis. He won the gold medal at the Olympics. He's won 24 majors. Yeah, he's done it all, but he can't seem to find his level after the Australian Open here. Lost twice in a row, lost in Doha. Probably just came back there early to do sponsor obligations with Qatar Airways and other things like that. Maybe wasn't ready. Lost to Berrettini, who was hot. Sure. Okay, comes to Indian Wells, loses to Botic van de Zandschulp, who's a lucky loser, but that doesn't really mean much. These guys are pros. You lose one match, okay, you can come back. Can you win in the next match? Yeah, it turns out he could. And he's a solid baseline player who can really counterpunch well. And if Djokovic being off his game didn't get free points from Botic, and that hurt Djokovic. So these are two guys that you can lose to. This is the ATP Tour, and they're proving that it's hard to win out here consistently. And these guys are showing it why. So that's enough on Djokovic. Botic van de Zandschulp, I think. You can go back, watch the highlights yourself. It was not great performance by Djokovic, but it was solid and super well-deserved from Botic. And Talon Griekspoor, this guy, beats Alexander Zverev, who came into this tournament as the number 1 seed, and has had really an all-time run of choking on the way to getting the number 1 rank in the world. He had a terrible golden swing in South America on the clay, and now he's come here and lost in his first match to Talon Griekspoor, who's been playing great tennis. Griekspoor beat Medvedev last week in Dubai and made the final, but still, Zverev just doesn't seem to be able to go and take what's in front of him, and he's letting these guys. He's not really playing the tennis that he needs to play to be the number 1 player in the world, and he probably isn't playing the tennis that he played most of last year to get him to the number 2 rank in the world either. So he's in a bad spot. He's going to be coming to Miami early and getting, I would think, lots of practice in, but probably just trying to get his mind on right. We'll be there in Miami early, so we'll maybe see him there and report back from what we see. Reminder, if you're going to be in Miami, come check us out. Come say hi to the Slice. We will be there. You can keep your eye out for us. But yeah, all the other guys. So those are the top 2 guys who fell. But here's the list of the other names that have also fallen in the first 2 days of Indian Wells. Casper Ruud loses to Marcus Giron. Andre Rublev loses to Matteo Arnaldi. And Felix Auger-Aliassime loses to Jenson Brooksby. So Jenson Brooksby, that's a tough first match, I would say, for Felix Auger-Aliassime, who I do not think was 100%. But Jenson was looking jacked, I thought. And he's obviously a top 20 player talent easily, but he's been coming back from injury and suspension. So he's just been like training in the dark and preparing for this. And that's a tough way to start your tournament if you're Felix Auger-Aliassime. He just really didn't have it today. Again, don't think he was maybe feeling great, but didn't have it. And the interesting thing is Brooksby's got such a smart game. He's got such an unconventional way of hitting the ball. But the thing that did the most damage today was his backhand down the line. So he can hit that backhand from like standing in the middle of the court. He'll hit a backhand lots of times, which is very not normal on the ATP Tour. And he'll just go down the line. It'll be like a slanting ball that's not super quick, but it's like angled well, and it's dying and it's falling away from Felix. So Felix would sometimes run around a backhand and hit a forehand into the backhand of Brooksby. Then Brooksby would just smash it down the line with his backhand, angling it and taking it early. And then Felix wouldn't be able to get over there in time because he just times it so well, Brooksby. So that was hurting Felix all match, and he wasn't really able to adjust to it. I would think that you would want to play as many forehand to forehand rallies if you're Felix there from that regard, and attack the forehand more. But it's a scary thought because you go down the line when you've run around the backhand, and then your cross court is completely exposed. So you have to hit an amazingly good forehand, which he did, and it was a close first set, but then he kind of faded. He got broken twice in the second set. So Felix, our Canadian, goes down, as well as Marcus Giron, and who beats Ruud, and Rublev went down to Arnaldi. So let's just run through these results here from the first 2 days, round of 64 and round of 32 matches. So Zverev beats Griekspoor. Let's take a look at the stats here. This was a tight match, but I believe over 3 hours, but I believe Zverev was up significantly in the third set and wasn't able to close it out. 10 aces from Griekspoor, big serving. Only 67% first serves won for Zverev. That is so far below his norm. So Griekspoor returning super well there, playing great. Breakpoint saved 9 out of 14. Interesting. So that's interesting. They broke each other a lot. So Arnaldi, or it looks like Griekspoor was broken 5 times, and Zverev was only broken 4 times, but 2 tiebreakers. That'll get it done. You can't let it go to a tiebreaker if you're Zverev, and he did twice in the last 2 sets. And Griekspoor was the mentally tougher player there, looking like. And that's incredible. That is really incredible. So point stats, winners to unforced errors. Unforced errors, 56 for Griekspoor, 39 winners. So a bit of a slog, and that's what we've kind of seen from the center court at Indian Wells. Bit of a slog, I would say. And maybe the slower court held up Zverev's power there and didn't allow him to fully express it, and therefore felt a bit exposed to Griekspoor, who now is through to play Impeshi Pericard. Mahac withdrew from injury. Tiafoe threw in 2 tiebreak sets to play Watanuki. Holgeruna threw Mute to play Humbert. Berrettini threw to play Tsitsipas. That's going to be a great match. Who's also through Sabeth Wild, but then Casper Ruud loses to Marcus Giron. So Casper Ruud, his ranking is still high, but it seems like every time I notice him in a tournament, he's losing early. Seriously, it's crazy. I think he's holding on to a lot of points from the clay swing, but it's going to get interesting for him, I think, and the U.S. Open last year. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because he seems to just be losing a lot early on. Artur Fils beats Gabriel Diallo, who was a lucky loser and won his first round match. That was a great result for Diallo. Tommy Paul's through to play Cam Norrie, who beat Lehechka, so that's technically an upset. Mickelson through to play Medvedev. That's going to be a great match. And then Rublev loses to Arnaldi. So let's see what happens there because I did not watch this match. Pretty, 1 hour and 45 minutes. Arnaldi looked like he was serving like a beast, but we're serving with how's it? Both guys serve terribly. Actually, it looks like. First serve percent in 54 for Rublev, 43 for Arnaldi. Only won 57% of his first serves. So this just looks like a super low quality match. Yeah, and that about sums it up. 14 winners, 33 unforced errors, 19 winners, 30 unforced errors for Arnaldi. So I believe this was on the day that it was super windy in Indian Wells, so the wind makes it crazy hard to play good tennis, and that probably factored into a lot of these upsets. Just the weather and it not cooperating. But yeah, Rublev going down, that's got to hurt to Arnaldi. Sorry, we skipped a few people there. This is not an upset. Obviously, Draper beats Fonseca, but it's notable 6-4, 6-0. Draper kind of shows him, hey, buddy, you're amazing, but you got a little bit of work to do still. So Fonseca goes out after winning his first round. Or was that? Yeah, Fonseca beat Fernley. And then wasn't able to follow it up against Draper. Played the next day, which is tough. And then Tabilo through to play Fritz. Botic van de Zandschulp beats Djokovic, and he'll play Francisco Cerundolo. So we're not going to get the Djokovic-Alcaraz matchup that we were hoping for. But we are going to get a Denis Shapovalov-Alcaraz matchup that I was hoping for. Shapovalov beats Alex Walton, or I forget his first name. Pretty good match from Shapovalov. It was a bit of a grind for him. He was battling himself mainly. He broke a number of times Walton, but also got broken. Threw his racket, was complaining, but again didn't go crazy and kept it locked in enough to play and beat the guy the way he should have beat him. Shapovalov has a lot higher level than Walton. So yeah, now he's got the ultimate test, really, Alcaraz, and it'll probably be on center court, I would hope, at Indian Wells. So that's going to be high bouncing, slower center court matchup. Shapovalov, Alcaraz. We've talked to Shapovalov here on the Slice. You guys have seen the interviews, and he was talking about how he was so impressed with the way that Alcaraz is able to play so aggressively but keep it within the margins. So we'll see how well Shapovalov can do that against Alcaraz when they play at Indian Wells. It's going to be a great test. It's going to be a great level setter for him. Where am I at? And potentially that's a pretty tough round for Alcaraz, if you ask me, in his second match of the tournament. You don't want to play a guy like Shapovalov, especially with the way that he has been playing on the hard courts. So I'm looking forward to that one. So anyways, that's a bit of a recap of the carnage on the ATP side of the Indian Wells draw so far in the desert. Let me know your thoughts down below. Pretty crazy to watch all these matches. It feels like a weird tournament now. No center. Zverev, the number 1 seed, is out. Djokovic is out. Alcaraz is kind of the only remaining top guy there. We got Daniil Medvedev. We got a ton of other players who are going to try and make a run for it. But we might have another kind of like newer winner at an ATP Masters 1000. Because if Alcaraz goes down to Shapovalov, that would open it wide open. But he's definitely the favorite going into that match against our Canadian friend Denis Shapovalov. But we will see. That's going to be my favorite, most intriguing match to watch in the next few days here. So anyways, leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for being here. This has been the Slice presented by Betway. We will see you next time here on the show.